me, where it said that there are no other gods before me. And that's been misunderstood. Well, there's no other gods before me, which means I can have other gods as long as I keep God as the number one God. But that's not what it says. It says, before me, I don't want to have any other gods out before me that I can see. I don't want you to have any other gods that are spread out before me to see. There needs to be no other gods. There needs to be one God in your life, not the big God and then all the little gods. There's to be one God in my life, and that is to be the Father, the creator of all heavens and earth. Verses 6 and 7. But the righteousness based on faith speaks as follows. Do not say in your heart, who will ascend into heaven, that is to bring Christ down, or who will descend into the abyss, that is to bring Christ up from the dead. And this is basically like when in Job, when God says to Job, he says, were you there the day that I set the boundaries on the ocean? Were you there the day that I hung the stars? So anybody here went to heaven and convinced Jesus, okay, look, we've come up with a plan down on earth. And we need you to come down and be the Savior. Or okay, Jesus is dead. I'm gonna go down to the abyss and I'm gonna bring Jesus back up so that what he's doing. He's like, it's ridiculous for us to even think that. But he said that's what it is when you try to earn your own righteousness. Did you go to heaven and bring Jesus down? Did you go to the abyss and bring Jesus up? No. You can't do it. That's the reason we need to rely on the work of Christ. The good news is it's a finished work. So we don't have to complete it. It's already finished. And then it goes on to say this, verse 8. But what did it say? The word is near you, in your mouth and in your heart. That is the word of faith which we are preaching. Now I think right here, when it talks about the word, it's talking about the written word. John 1:1. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. Okay? So it's talking about the written word, but then we know that Jesus now is the living word. So it's kind of interchangeable, but Moses was talking about the written word because they didn't yet have the living word. So Moses is talking about the written word, the word that's written on our heart, then the word that was actually written on page, and now Jesus, who is the living word, is who we get to preach, is what Paul is saying. The word is near you, in your mouth and in your heart. That is the word of faith. And then verse 9 and 10, that if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart a person believes, resulting in righteousness, and with the mouth he confesses, resulting in salvation. We know James 2:19 says that the demons believe and tremble. So it's not an easy believism. Well, I believe there's a God. I believe there's a Jesus. It's interesting how I saw an episode of something the other day, and it was I guess moderately blasphemous because it had Lee Majors playing God. It was an episode with Jim Belushi or something like that. So that tells you right there. But anyways, Lee Majors is dressed up in a cowboy hat and really nice looking cowboy gear, and he's God, and he's walking around and talking to Belushi about something. I don't know. But at any point, Jim Belushi says, "Oh God, thank you so much," and God sits down in the chair and he goes, "Yeah, that touches me about as much as when Beyonce thanked me for her whatever award," or something like that. That was the only part of it I actually thought was funny, where God was going, "Really? You're going to thank me for that? Okay." But so he's saying, if we confess with our mouth Jesus is Lord, believe in our heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart of a person believes, resulting in righteousness, and with the mouth he confesses, resulting in salvation. It's not an easy believism. It's not a belief in, well, yeah, we think there's a God and all this other stuff, and let's make fun of it, or let's make it be a caricature or something like that. It's talking about a life-changing, life-risking belief. Okay, so now you know I have chains. I'm going to pick the lighter of the two chains, just because I want to do this. So I've got two stories to tell you. that I think will help illustrate the whole point about belief. Two stories of belief, because here we are at the second question. What must I do to be saved? So it's midnight. Paul and Silas, they're in chains. They're nursing their wounds. And they've been, by the religious leaders and by the Roman government, they've been thrown in jail. And so they're sitting there. Now, yesterday morning, things have been going on, for those of you who don't know, things have been going pretty rough in the Owens house with Laura's health. And then Carter had this horrible reaction, a fever of 107, and Emily was talking to me all week long about, I don't think I'm going to be able to go on the mission trip, although I really want to go, but I'm not sure I can go. Can anybody take my place? And all this other stuff. And so there begins to be this prayer email that's going around, and I mean we're really pushing in on this, and I actually pulled over. The hands-free law, I'm trying to be really good about that. I pulled over to read some of the stuff that was going on. I was praying as we were going, and different people are praying, and then Sally lets me know that at the very moment she's praying for Emily and for Christian and for Carter and for Laura, she goes, Mike, I get the worst spasm in my back that I've ever had. I'm just sitting there minding my own business, and all of a sudden I got a spasm. And then Julia comes down, and she's unexplainedly, she's a fairly graceful dancer. She's run into a piece of furniture just oddly enough, and now she's like, her knee is killing her, and it's like, this is all going on. And about the time I'm reading all this stuff, I get the first moment I'm stuck in traffic, coming back from Paducah, and my car begins to overheat. So it's midnight. Paul and Silas, and what are they doing? Man, I can't believe God left us here. This is it. I'm quitting. After I get out of here, I'm done, because this is just it's not fair. I'm telling you, it's not fair. No, they begin to sing. What are they singing? I can hear it now. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody. No, that's not what they sang. They started singing, God, you're so good. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. Because this is how I fight my battles. I'm surrounded, but God surrounds me. And as they begin to sing, what happens? There's an earthquake that only our California friends can understand. An earthquake that shakes the doors off the hinges, shakes the chains off these guys. And I mean, they're just really singing now, and it's awesome. And then what happens? Well, the jailer, the guy who runs the jail, when he sees the doors are open, the chains are off, he knows, I didn't just lose my job. They're going to kill me, and they're going to kill my family, because that's what happens when you disappoint the Roman government. They're going to take my life, they're going to take my family's life, and he draws out a sword, and he's about to kill himself, thinking, well, maybe if I kill myself, they'll let my family live. But this is bad, folks. This is really, really bad. And then this happens. Paul says, oh, stop. We're all here. It's all good, man. We're just worshiping the Lord. We're just singing about how good our God is, how great is our God, how there's freedom and walking in liberty, and the chains fell off, but we're here. You don't need to hurt yourself. Acts 16, verse 29 through 30. The jailer called for lights and rushed in, and trembling with fear, he fell down before Paul and Silas, and after he brought them out, he said, Sirs, what must I do to be saved? I saw when they brought you in here, you were beaten, you were bruised, you were, man, I would not have been singing praises to nobody. I would have been grumbling, but you began to sing praises, and your chains fell off, and you didn't even run. I'd like some of that. What must I do to be saved? When you go through the junk that you will go through, Guess what? I pulled my car out, I turned my blinker on, and I work my way over, and I get on the side of the road, I pop my hood, I roll my windows down, which is an amazing miracle in itself, because usually my windows don't roll down. So my windows are rolled down, I get out, and it's not pouring down rain, another miracle, and I go around, and I just open the door, and I go, you know what, God? You're so good, because my car, my phone, fully charged. I'm in a spot where I can actually communicate with people. I'll just let everybody know, hey, I'm pulled over on the side of the road. Keenan, Mike, you need me to come get you? Sally, do I need to come get you? No, it's good. Because eventually this traffic's going to start moving, and as long as my car is rolling at 60 or 70 miles an hour, it won't overheat. It'll be fine. I'm all good. And sure enough, that's kind of what happened. And what did that do to the enemy? Man, I thought for sure that would, no. Look, you've overplayed your hand. It's like Eli was saying, they don't coordinate their attacks on us, and so after a while you begin to go, you guys are silly. You should just all attack in a similar way or whatever. But look, we all worship the same way. We all worship the same God. So that's this guy. He's an employee of either the high priest or the Roman government. And all of a sudden, for him to show up to work one day and go, oh, and by the way, my family and I got saved over the weekend, and I got baptized, and so I'm going to be doing my job a little bit differently. He risked his life. He risked his career. That's the kind of belief he had. It wasn't some easy believism. Well, yeah, I'm going to tell everybody I believe in Jesus, and when I'm on stage, I'm going to say, oh, I love Jesus. But then when I'm in private, I'm going to do all the things that I want to do that have nothing to do with Jesus. It was a real belief. Well, there's another story, and it's in Acts 18, verses 1 through 11. Now, Paul is in Corinth. Paul has taken some time to be a bivocational ministry. He's met up with a couple named Priscilla and Aquila who are tent makers, and Paul begins to work with them. Well, now Timothy and Silas show up, so Paul is able to go back full-time, proclaiming Jesus as Messiah to the Jews. He's met with tremendous backlash, which has always happened to him. But he decided, look, I'm going to stop even talking to you Jews about Jesus for a while, and I'm just going to focus on the Greeks. But everything that he had said and all the stuff that had happened, it was still having this rolling effect to the point where not only did a jailer get saved, but a guy who ran the synagogue got saved. Acts chapter 18, verse 8, Crispus, the leader of the synagogue, believed in the Lord with all his household, and many of the Corinthians, when they heard, were believing and being baptized. Again, just like the jailer, this wasn't going to be a popular decision with his bosses. Oh, look, I became a Jesus follower over the weekend. Paul came and baptized me and my whole family. We're going to be living differently now. My priorities have changed. He risked everything. So it wasn't just believe in Jesus and don't let that change your life at all. That was not what was going to happen. Verse 11 of Acts chapter 10, for the scripture says, whoever believes in him will not be disappointed. Now I have a question for you. Are you ever disappointed in being a Christian? I think if we're honest, some of us will go, yeah, sometimes I am. I just encourage you, take it to the Lord. We're so sure that I don't want to offend God. I don't want to tell him something he doesn't already know. Too late. I can't be honest. I can't be honest with the Spirit of truth. Oh, you can be. He already knows the truth. So it's okay to go. But what he says here is whoever believes in him will not be disappointed. When you put your faith in him, he will come through. And then verse 12 and 13. For there is no distinction between Jew and Greek, for the same Lord is Lord of all, abounding in riches for all who call on him. For whoever will call on the name of the Lord will be saved. Years and years ago, one of the vacation Bible schools that we did was one of my favorite ones. It had the ABCs of becoming a Christian. And, there's the Roman road. There's all these different ways to do it. ABC was pretty simple for me because I already knew ABC. So I didn't have to actually memorize a whole lot. I just knew A, B, C. So here they are. A, admit. Admit what? Well, I need to admit that I'm a sinner.